This episode of the Dystopian Dance Party podcast is brought to you by AnuSol. AnuSol, because we're just going to pretend that you don't pronounce it anus.
Welcome to the Dystopian Dance Party podcast with Zach and Callie. This episode, art, rape culture, video games, Tom Petty, and hemorrhoids. And now, here's Zach and Callie of Dystopian Dance Party.
I think there's somebody who was like it. We're the hardest working band in the business.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Dystopian Dance Party podcast. I'm Zach, and this is Callie. And
I'm eating chocolate.
Yeah, Callie's eating chocolate as usual. So if you hear any mouth noises, that's that's why, and that's just like that's just like a general for the rest of the time we record this podcast.
I'm just gonna continue eating. I mean, probably.
So yeah, it'll have been about a month, I think, when this goes up. We are actually theoretically not tied to the 1 a month podcast thing. We might actually do it more frequently. I think we can.
We're gonna do 2 a month.
Yeah, I think we could probably
month.
handle once every 2 weeks. Which, you know, like, I mean, there's some people out there are doing like fucking like daily podcasts. That is not our level of productivity. But 1 every 2 weeks, I think, is just about what we can handle. So, yeah, and this is our second podcast since we kind of changed our format, and this is technically going to be the Halloween podcast, although I don't know how much we're going to talk about that. So, yeah, we'll just see what happens. So, Callie, I know that you've been busy. What have you been up to lately?
Pretty much. What did I talk about last time? Just the residency?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so I've been trying to form a women's art collective in Detroit, or like, for people who identify as women, so not just, you know,
biological.
I'm all inclusive.
Right.
So yeah, I'm putting together that. We're trying to get shows and stuff. Basically, the reason for that is that I noticed that, and all the other women I've been talking to that graduated from Wayne State and that I just know in the community, like, our male peers have been getting like a ton of shows, like just a ton of opportunities to show their art and like accolades left and right. And I mean, I've done all right, but I have not gotten shown as much as I feel I should be getting shown based on the quality of my work.
Right. And
I know that my work in particular is, I guess, kind of controversial, but not really. I mean, it's 2017.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, your art, like, I think we've talked about your art a little bit. It's basically, you know, pornographic is like there's a value judgment with that word, but you know, your art is very sexually explicit. Which
I don't like the word pornographic, and I know you weren't saying that, but I'm just saying, like, just to be clear, I feel like pornography is meant to arouse, and it's generally from the man's point of view.
Right.
Whereas my art is specifically just more like it's more like academic, I guess, about sexuality, or like I take like MRIs and biological diagrams and X-rays and look inside the body during sex acts. I mean, it's imagined because you can't have sex in an MRI, but
right.
It's too much movement. Although there's a video of that, but like I for the first painting I did of that, I did use an actual MRI image of intercourse.
Uh-huh.
But since then I've gone off off the board with it. And the way I describe it is like how they imagine dinosaurs looking. Like they don't actually know what the fuck a dinosaur looked like.
Right.
They're just piecing together what they know from different aspects of the skeleton and like different stuff like that. You don't like who knows what color like how do they know what color a dinosaur is?
Right.
But anyway, I'm getting off topic. But like that's how I do it. I pretty much like find MRIs or biological diagrams that are similar to what I want in terms of the positioning of the body, and then I just like put it together. So now they're eating pussy or whatever. And then I work with other stuff like, like I'm working on a series of watercolors now that's all like nudes that I've sent to guys basically. So like now I have watercolor paintings of them. So pretty much it's like it's exposing the female gaze in art in such a way that hasn't it's been done, but it's not, you don't usually see it.
Right.
But I like to distance myself from pornography because pornography tends to be like idealized sexuality, and I don't think that my art is ideal.
Right.
Like I use my own body for a lot of my paintings, and I have close to an ideal body than I guess most people, or not ideal, but like, the socially accepted
the norm.
body.
Yeah. Right.
Right. But it's still like not, perfect by society standards. So anyway, that what was I talking about before?
Well, we were talking about how to
I was
describe
just
your art,
describing
and it is also because I was thinking, like a lot of women who make sexually explicit art, or a lot of like less sort of less problematic sexually explicit art, they'll describe it as like erotic art, and I guess, but your work isn't really very titillating, I don't think. It's
right. Yeah, it's almost clinical, but I also, it's like clinical in content, but I also use like wild colors because I'm influenced by psychedelic poster art, so that makes it less clinical.
Right.
And also the colors I'm using are like, they're supposed to, they symbolize whatever feeling that the colors mean to me, because like I don't know, like I feel colors, so that's why I'm able to do that. But I guess it's whatever you interpret it when you're looking at it. But for me, it's very specific depending on which painting I'm doing. But yeah, I mean the shows that I get into tend to be erotic art shows. Like I was in the Dirty Show, which is an annual erotic art show that they have in Detroit, and they also have like burlesque people and stuff performing.
Right.
I got into that, and I got into the slut walk.
But yeah, it is sort of like, I think your work presents a challenge even in 2017 of like how to categorize this, because it's not like conventional high art nude, and it's not pornography, it's not really erotica, it's a really interesting kind of borderline.
Yeah, and that's purposeful, but yeah, like the shows I tend to get in are like erotic art shows, and like the Dirty Show, it was just I felt like my art was better than a lot of work there. I say that a lot. Like well,
that's what happened to Slut Walk too.
Oh my god, the Slut Walk, I was like heads above everyone, and I'm not even ashamed to say that. Like there was some good stuff, but people were doing like Amber Rose fan art, and I was like, this is fucking weird. Like I don't think this is what this is about, because I read the call to art, because she posted a call to art on her Instagram, which is how I found out about it. I did the Slut Walk not this past summer, but the summer before.
Yeah. So you didn't get to see 21 Savage, but
I know I really wanted to go this year too, and that's why, because I knew he was going to be there. Like let me just go off of what I was saying.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
I love 21 Savage and Amber Rose together. Like I am completely here for it. I think they're adorable. Like someone showed me a picture of them, and it was like, he looks so unhappy, and I'm like,
he's 21 Savage. Like this is.
I know, exactly. Like he always looks like that.
Probably the happiest he's ever been. Like...
Right. Like you look at them together, and people are saying like it's a gimmick and all this shit, and I'm like, well, just let people be happy. Like I think they're adorable together. But anyway, and I started liking 21 Savage. I read an interview with him in the Fader, like before Amber Rose and everything, and I was like, oh, I like this guy. And now that he was with Amber Rose, I'm like, I'm totally for.
Yeah, I mean, with the obvious caveat that like you know, in no world would the opposite of that relationship happen. Like if there was like if 21 Savage looked like, I don't know, like fucking D'Angelo in 1996 and he was with some woman that looked like a female 21 Savage, like, you know,
Hey.
like that would never happen.
But D'Angelo is Angie Stone, and she's not like super hot.
That's true. Yeah, she's a little bit unconventional.
I guess people. I mean, yeah, like she's pretty, but she's not like.
She's not, yeah, like she wouldn't be a video vixen. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess people were like, I read an article, or I read something. Maybe it was just part of a Wikipedia page. It wasn't that much extensive research, but I like read something somewhere where people were like, I guess talking shit to D'Angelo about how he was with Angie Stone, and that might have contributed to why they broke up or something. But it sucks.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
But what was I saying before? Oh, the slut walk.
Right.
I'm eating chocolate again, too. This is such a professional podcast.
May or may not edit this part out.
Yeah, like the slut walk was very questionable quality. I mean, like, the thing with fan art is that it's technically good. It's just most of it is just fucking stupid. You got to be careful with fan art.
Right.
But yeah. So a lot of my work gets into erotic art shows, but I always feel kind of weird about it because I'm like, yeah, I guess, but like the content is there.
Yeah.
But but then I can't get into conventional shows. Like I've been trying to get into Hatch Gallery in Hamtramck for years, and they're all like, I was close last time. I guess they were like, yeah, I like the guy who like I guess works at the gallery. I went to the opening to see everyone else. All my male friends who got in the fucking gallery. I went to support them. And he was like, yeah, I really like your art. And I was like, okay, bitch, put it in the show. I mean, it was a juried exhibition. He wasn't the juror,
Right,
but
right.
still, like, put my fucking art up, bruh.
Yeah. So that's kind of, and I mean, that's kind of, it's been there's a long history of women's art collectives, because for whatever reason it seems like a lot of time men don't need that extra boost, that extra community.
Well, yeah, and also like men, one of the women who I like am connecting with about the art collective, she was saying like the like we all graduate from the same class, and then the men go on. They get all the shows, obviously, because the art world is fucking sexist, just like everything else, and racist. But so like a lot of the people in my art collective are women of color,
right.
So they get extra from
right.
like anything I would get. So we all graduate from the same fucking class, and then they get all the shows, and then go on to like work with other male curators, and so just like. It just becomes like a fucking sausage fest.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, well, fuck it then. I'm just gonna get everyone together, because at least then, like, we can get group shows together, and it'll be less of like me trying alone to get into juried exhibitions where they don't want my fucking art because I don't know, because I don't fit in. And another thing about my art is that not only is it sexual in nature, but it's also a style that doesn't really totally go over too well in Detroit, which is surprising, but like Wayne State was a surprisingly traditional school. I graduated from Wayne State.
Right.
So the people who are getting shows are like doing landscape and like fucking portraits. And I'm like, here's a watercolor of my menstruation.
So that's going. What else? What else has been going on with you?
Well, related, I had there's a festival in Hamtramck called Hamtramck Neighborhood Arts Day, and pretty much like all the I think all the galleries and like businesses are open, and they have stuff going on related to art, either like musical or visual art or whatever. Performance, sculpture, any of that stuff. And then but also like as individual artists who just live in town, because Hamtramck has a pretty good art community because all the artists live here because you can rent a fucking nice apartment, 2 bedrooms for $500. This is why I live here. But you can also like I just applied for an open studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had people coming through my house all day yesterday. So I set it up nice and I just like displayed my art because I was like, this is a chance to kind of have like my own low-key exhibit of my art and get people to see it.
How many people came through?
It was pretty good traffic considering the weather was so shitty yesterday. It was rainy.
I think I heard that. Yeah.
It was like slow in the morning. I had a few people, and then a lot of people came in the midday. It was like pretty much one after the other. And then in the evening, like I was about to close because like no one was coming. I'm like, fuck it, I'll close up. And then like a ton of people came at the end. So it was pretty good traffic.
Oh, that's cool.
I got some new Instagram followers.
Oh, hey, there you go.
That's what it's all about. But that's nice because eventually I meant to make prints for the actual thing, but I've just been so busy. I've been working a lot and I've been training for, I ran a half marathon today too. That's another thing I've been doing. So like, I just haven't had time or money to make prints.
Right.
But if you follow me on Instagram,
at Naspuller.
Dropping my handle. I'll drop it again at the end. But I'll eventually post up that I have prints available.
Right.
Eventually, when I get my shit together. But yeah, so I did that yesterday, and then today I ran my half marathon. So it was a busy weekend for me.
Yeah. I don't really have. I mean, like, should I talk about what I've been doing?
Hemorrhoids. They burn, itch, swell, and hurt. And what do more doctors recommend to stop the hurting? No, not that one. This one. More doctors recommend AnuSol to soothe, relieve, and comfort than all other brands of hemorrhoid medicine combined. AnuSol is the word to remember for relief.
Yeah.
Because the only thing I feel, I mean, I've been going to work. The only thing I feel like is notable is my hemorrhoid struggle. Like,
let's talk about our gross bowels. Because I also have like health problems related to my intestines and anus. So it's not. Oh, nobody listens to this shit except Mom anyway.
That's true. So Mom, here's what's been happening with my intestines. So okay, so let me start. Let me just start with the dramatic irony here. You know, we have these guys that we were fighting with on our Kiss videos, our Kiss baptized for a while, and one of these guys said that the reason why I'm so angry, or that why I hate Kiss so much, is because I have hemorrhoids, and I was like, no, I don't. That's not fucking why. And then, you know, like a couple of weeks later, like lo and behold, I have a terrible case of hemorrhoids, and like
he jinxed you.
It's like, and I'm like pissed about it because I'm like, God, that, like, now I feel like that guy was right, you know, like.
I don't think he was right. I think he put a curse on you.
That would explain why they've taken so long to. So for those of you who haven't had these an issue like this, there's not really, like, you know, it's if it's bad enough, like, I think there are ways that you can go to the doctor and they'll like do something, like do some kind of procedure. I don't even want to think about what they fucking do, you know. But you know, so basically you just have
it's just like a bulging vein, right?
Yeah. So you just have to like you have to like wait for it to go away, basically. You know, and so like I've been taking these the sitz baths, like you know, I have to like soak my ass in witch hazel for 15 minutes, like a fucking old lady. Like, and you know, I tried the creams. I tried like all kinds of shit. And then so finally I was like, this is, miserable. And I went to urgent care, and they prescribed me a suppository. And like I'm not a person who likes to insert things into my rectum. Yeah, I mean, like we said last time,
it's an acquired taste.
Yeah, no judgment. It's just not for me. But I was so
Yet.
What's that?
It's not for you yet.
Not yet. I have gotten like disturbingly adept at the suppository, because these motherfuckers, like, okay, so I know what a suppository is, obviously, and the doctor offered it to me, and I was like, okay, I like, it's really uncomfortable, like let me just do this, and so I took them home. I opened them up. They look like fucking bullets, like like full size.
I texted that you should just get a gun, like load them into the gun and shoot them up your ass.
That's what it's like.
It'll be like a really hardcore tampon applicator.
And I guess the idea is that they it's just hydrocortisone. They break down and like coat your anus. There's two funny things about them. One is that they're gigantic, and I was like, fuck, like this was not what I thought I was signing up for. And then the other thing is the name of the drug, like the retail name of the drug, is AnuSol. 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 I'm just like, who decides these things? Like, that is so ridiculous. So if the company behind AnuSol is listening now and you want to sponsor this podcast, just hit us up. Let me know. Maybe we can work something out.
Well, tag them on Twitter and they can listen to our podcast.
I should. We'll just be we're gonna pivot to a podcast that like gives people advice for dealing with their gastrointestinal issues.
Right. Yeah, because I have my share too.
So yeah, since this came up, I'm on the mend. I was a little concerned about being seated for this entire podcast, but so far it's okay. Is
that why you have hemorrhoids?
Yeah, maybe.
I thought I had hemorrhoids last year, but I don't think I do. But you know what? This is why you need bidets and baby wipes.
Yeah. I actually think that might be part of my problem. Is I'm really aggressive about wiping. I need to be like super clean back there. So
I mean, that's good though. But like with toilet paper, like that's the thing. I've said this before. Like, if you were like coated in mud, you wouldn't just take like a dry washcloth
right.
and try to like dry. You would take a shower, use a wet cloth or something. So it's like you need baby wipes. We need bidets. I'm mad that we don't have widespread use of bidets.
Right. Yeah. It's
States.
just another reason why America is behind.
Right. Like our assholes are not clean.
We're the. It's like when Trump is always saying like we're
so
the last
angry.
in the world for like we're the last in the world for
Yeah.
like anus cleaning.
Yeah. Anal hygiene.
And
I wonder if that's why we're so mad and shooting up everybody, is because our asses aren't
probably
clean enough. We all got
everybody's got
hemorrhoids and our
hemorrhoids.
asses are itchy all the time. We smell. I want to shoot something up with my ass. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't actually.
So yeah, but the other side, I have gotten like disturbingly adept at just like popping those suppositories right up there. So who knows? By the end of this treatment, maybe I will be into butt stuff. Who knows?
we're just gonna give a short plug for an anal plug. Fun Factory makes these ones called Booty. They're called Booty anal plugs, and they're graduated. So you get the first one. It's like if you had a really bulbous like cartoon thumb, and then they go up from there. So you can eventually, I guess, fit a whole ass dick in your. So yeah, if
I miss the suppositories when I'm done, that's something to look into.
Just to our listeners, like if this conversation made you at all interested in anal play, there's what you get. Like that's what you should check out. It's a fun, easy way to get into anal sex.
So
probably don't do it if you have hemorrhoids. Though.
No, I would not.
Can you have butt sex if you have hemorrhoids? I'm Googling it right now. All right, so it can make it painful, but it looks like if you use enough lube, you should be all right.
So there you go.
Good to know.
You could really it shouldn't impact your lifestyle in any way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's basically what I've been doing, just like soaking my ass. It's really it's really like it like consumes my it's a really like I haven't been having much fun for the last week and a half or so. It's because it's like a major presence in my life,
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because it takes like time and planning to have to fill a bathtub with material.
Yeah, I know. And then and it's like
like I was doing that with vinegar because I got like diagnosed with BV while we're talking about our gross body issues. Like I had bacterial vaginosis for a hot second, and I had to I was just like bathing in white vinegar. It worked though.
Yeah. So we are. So to in summary, we're disgusting people, and everything that the YouTube trolls say about us is true.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's what I've been doing. Let's see. I started playing a couple of good video games. So did you like that segue?
No, I love that mine was like, yeah, I'm putting together Women's Art Collective. I ran a half marathon today. Yours is like, I have hemorrhoids and I play video games.
That's exactly it.
That should just be your like description.
My bio.
Got hemorrhoids, play video games. What else do you need to know?
Well, yeah, when you're lying on your back, trying not to irritate your and that's why I like the Nintendo Switch, because like you can it's very adaptable in that way. But yeah, so there's a demo for a Switch game called Project Octopath Traveler, which is a really dumb title, but I'm like 90% sure that's gonna end up. It says this is the only game that I've seen where the company that released it obviously has no confidence in the title, because it says working title underneath, like even on the logo and stuff. But this is also like it's Square Enix, who have released 2 games called Bravely Default. So I'm not optimistic that there's going to be a better a better name for it. But it's really cool. So it's like it has this kind of like a Super Nintendo RPG kind of look to it. The sprites remind me of like Final Fantasy VI, and it plays like that kind of game. But then it's also the backgrounds and stuff are in 3 dimensions, so there's kind of like a weird, like it's like looking at a diorama almost is the effect. It's really interesting, and it's just a demo that I played. The real game's not out yet, but you control a couple of different characters, and you're pretty much free to do whatever you want, I think is the idea. The demos were obviously more limited in that way. only thing that kind of gets on my nerves. So there were two characters. There was a like a male warrior guy, and there was a female like she's basically like a courtesan. I think she's like a dancer, but also like I think she's like enslaved somehow, and it's just like it's really cliched, her story, and really like sexist, and like of course like her master or whatever, like it's heavily implied is raping her, and it's just like, what the fuck, like why, like like there are other ways to create drama. But there was actually there was a survey that you could give feedback on the game, and I was like, can you please change the sexist story? So if they change it, you have me, the SJW, to thank for censoring your Japanese video games. But other than that, it's really cool. I'm excited to play the whole thing. I started playing Final Fantasy IX. That randomly got reissued or re-released like toward the end of last month. Haven't gotten too far in it, but it looks nice. It's fun to play on the Vita.
That game was fun.
It was fun.
I liked how that one kind of returned to like more medieval stuff, because I really liked the aesthetic of like 6 and 7. Obviously, that was like kind of medieval, but also like steampunk, basically.
Right.
8, I don't give a fuck about. I hated 8. But 9, I just liked that it like returned to like super medieval stuff.
Yeah.
And I also like people with tails in popular culture.
Yeah, the world is cool. The like the character design and the setting design, and it's like it's medieval, but it also feels unique. It doesn't quite feel like any other game with a medieval setting. There's all these like animal people, like anthropomorphic, but then they're also regular like human looking people. It's just a cool game, and it does look. I was surprised actually by how good it looks in the remastered version. They're using the same like polygons and stuff, and the textures are still obviously low quality, but it just looks like sharper, and I can actually tell what certain things are that I in the old game I remember being like, what am I looking at, like because it had that late
you know what,
PS1.
I remember that too.
Yeah. It's like it just looked like a blob. It looks much sharper on the PS4, and it's a really good game to do the remote play and play on the Vita while you're resting your hemorrhoids. Other than that, I am I'm like, I was just remembering, this is kind of a what I'm doing now, and kind of a like an anniversary thing, but I just remembered that it was about 10 years ago that Super Mario Galaxy came out, and I remembered like how excited I was to get that. Like that was kind of like right when I was getting back into video games again. I played games obviously all through my teens, and before my teens. I kind of dropped it when I went to college, and then I got back into it basically when I came home and you were playing GameCube, and I was like, oh, this stuff's awesome. Like, there's a new Zelda, there's a new Mario.
I got a GameCube super late.
Yeah.
I got it right before the Wii came out, because I wanted to play Animal Crossing, and I got into that super late. So pretty much the Wii was the first like new gaming system I think it was that I ever got, because, well, I guess the DS was pretty new.
Right.
But, like, in terms of consoles and not handhelds.
Yeah,
like...
yeah. Yeah, because you had the original model DS, like, before.
I had that, and then I got I now have the 3DS.
Right. Yeah, so, I bought a Wii, like, soon after I saw your GameCube. And Mario Galaxy came out later that same year. I'm looking at Wikipedia, it was November 2007. So we're not quite to the anniversary. But the reason why I'm thinking about it is because there's a new Mario game coming out for the Switch. In when this podcast goes up, it will be a week away, and I am like super excited for it. It looks so good. Super Mario Odyssey. It can't. I've already got it pre-ordered, and like it can't come soon enough. So it's just funny, like being in this position where I'm anticipating Mario Odyssey just reminded me of when I was looking forward to Mario Galaxy. I was at grad school, and I pre-ordered it from the GameStop in Arizona, and you actually got a call when it was ready to pick up. You got a call from the voice of Mario in character,
I remember that.
in character as Mario.
Hello, it's me, Mario. Woohoo! And I'ma call you because I'm here at the GameStop where they telling me that you pre-ordered my newest and the greatest game, Super Mario Galaxy. Woohoo! It's an amazing game, and it's gonna be here tomorrow at your local GameStop. You can come and pick it up at the GameStop store where you originally reserved your copy. Whoopee! I can't wait for you to see me flying around in my bumblebee outfit. I'm out in space trying to rescue the princess. Ah, she makes my heart go bada bing, bada boom, bada ba. Oh, and you know what else? GameStop will let you bring in your older games to trade in for credits. Yeah, credit to help you buy your copy of Super Mario Galaxy with me, Mario. Oh, and if you have any questions, make sure you call your local GameStop store where you pre-ordered my game, and they're gonna be happy to help you out. Okie dokie, okie dokie. Happy holidays, and thank you very much for buying my new game, Super Mario Galaxy, at the GameStop. Woohoo!
It was so stupid.
I was actually just this past summer, like when I first got back from San Francisco, I was I was playing Super Mario Galaxy again just because I was back in the mood to play video games when I got back, because I hadn't really done it all summer. Like I'd been painting all summer, and then I got back and I'm like, well, I can just be a lazy sack of shit again and play old Mario games.
Right.
So I was playing that, and one of the things I remembered about Super Mario Galaxy is when the Wii was actually a thing and there were like updates and stuff to it. Like, do you remember the Find Luigi thing?
I do now.
It was like the Find Luigi thing, and like, was that the thing that like Toad would send you a message?
Yeah, so
like,
it was like the Wii had that. It had it was always on. It was always connected to the internet, and it had. I'm trying to remember what they called it. If it was, oh God, what was it called? Was it called Spot Pass? Like that's what
I think
that's
so.
the equivalent. Like,
well, that's on DS.
That's what it is on
3DS
and Wii U. I don't remember what it was called on the Wii, but it was like you would opt in. Or, by default, you were opted in, and the system would like give you an update that it would show up in your messages. And sometimes it would be like, this is what's in the shop channel this week, or sometimes it would be Toad writing you a letter.
Yeah. So just to be fucking clear, the only time that and you got these notifications, you knew that you had these notifications because your Wii, like the light around the CD insert would glow blue. So the only fucking time I ever, like, my Wii for some reason would only send me this shit like in the ass crack of the night. Like the middle of the motherfucking night.
And the LED is super bright. Like super bright.
Yeah, and I'm a pretty, like, I need like blackout curtains. Like I'm not as light of a sleeper as I used to be, but I still need like a pretty adequately dark bedroom to sleep in. And so I would just like wake up, and this was when I was in high school. There were like several times that I woke up and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I like get up and I look at my Wii and it's like, you need to find Luigi. I'm like, fuck no! Fuck him! It made me so mad. I had school in the morning. Like,
I forgot all about
it took
that.
me forever to go back to sleep. Like, I just thought about how irritating that was. Finally, I just turned it fucking
Right.
off because I'm like, I don't want to be awoken anymore by Toad reminding me that I need to go find Luigi. Like, that was so irritating.
Yeah. So hopefully that will. Well, I mean, the good news is that like the Switch really doesn't have like much in the way of LED. So even if they do something like that for Mario Odyssey, it's not going to wake me up in the middle of the night. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Basically, that's all I've been doing: soaking my ass playing video games. Moving on. I haven't been listening to much new music. Lately I've been so like today I went record shopping. I went to a couple of stores in Silver Spring, and I got Bob Seger's Mongrel. I got Leon Russell's first album. And I got Genius of Love, the 12-inch Genius of Love by Grandmaster Flash, which has a longer version. It's already the long version. It has a longer version on the B side that has like 2 totally different verses that I'd never heard before. So that was pretty amazing. They're not as good as the ones on the on the regular extended version, but still cool. And I got Demons and Wizards by Uriah Heep. That album is the shit.
I have that on vinyl too. It's a great album.
It's like it's so
I love Uriah Heep unabashedly. Like, just like any rock band with an organ is amazing to me. And Uriah Heep is so like just like not cool. Like Deep Purple is cool,
right? At
least they were before they reunited and were like corny dad rock. But I mean, they were always dad rock, but like they were even more dad in the 80s. But like Deep Purple at least is kind of cool. Uriah Heep is just they've always been corny.
Yeah, they've never
but I'm completely here for it.
Yeah, all of their songs are about like fucking wizards or like like. I mean, the name of the album is Angels and Demons. It's like it's that kind of like proto Dio like fantasy rock, and the singer always goes into falsetto, like no matter what. At least once per song, he hits those high notes. It's like, but it's so awesome though. It's like it's the kind of music we would listen to in like an airbrushed van. That just like
that's basically all the music
with just weed smoke billowing out of the windows.
I went record shopping a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to I forgot what I got. I'm trying to find. I finally brought all my records to my house. They were at my parents' house.
Right.
And I finally relocated them. I need to get a new record player though, because the one I have is trash. And then when I brought them all here, so I had a copy of Alive on vinyl here, and then I had the CD Alive, Kiss Alive, the first one here. And then when I brought my records home, I was putting them away, and I'm like, What the fuck? I have another copy of Alive. So I have, just to be clear, I have 3 copies of Alive. And I do not know why. I think I just forgot that I had bought one over here.
Right.
Or that I had one at home and I bought one over here. And so now I just have 3 fucking copies of Alive for absolutely no reason. Like no one... I mean, it's debatable if you even need one. Like, I would say...
I think if you
you're
need
going
any
to get...
Kiss album, it would be Alive.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, if you're going to get a Kiss album, get Alive. Like, that's really the only Kiss album you need, because it's all of the good music from their first, like, what, 4 albums?
Yeah, it was
it's pretty
before
much like,
everything before Destroyer.
Yeah, like, it's pretty much everything that I have been saying about Kiss's first couple of years, is that really, like, I wish that there was one album instead of a fucking million of them, and they weren't just sharding out whatever the hell. And what I was gonna say, sorry, I got distracted, but that's the album that's like the music that's worth listening to from their first couple albums is Alive.
Yeah.
So
and it's all and it's better. It's louder. You can hear explosions. Like.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I like it too, because like their first album especially is so so heavily produced, and they talked about this in their like
all of their biographies.
own autobiographies, like that they didn't like how it was produced, and I agree with that. Like 100,000 Years is so much better on Alive, and that was the first version of that song I heard, and I was like, this is fucking sweet. And then I heard it on the debut album, and I'm like, it just doesn't sound as good. Right. Like, it just sounds it's produced like a pop album basically, and it just doesn't sound as loud as you would want that song to sound. So it's much better live, and there's a long ass drum solo too, so it's like, what's not to love? So yeah, I went record shopping at People's Records in Detroit. It's in Corktown a couple weeks ago. I got and I keep meaning to film these for the Dystopian Dance Party YouTube page.
I've got like a backlog.
I'm gonna go back.
Yeah, so I've
I now
stopped
go with
filming
someone
them,
else.
Actually.
Right. I now have someone who could film me, so it's better than me just walking up in there with a camera. Like, at least I'll be there with someone.
Right.
But, so I got Michael McDonald's, If That's What It Takes.
Oh, of course.
Because I needed it. Like there's really only one song I like on there. It's the one with Keep Forgetting on it.
Oh yeah.
And to be honest, that's really the only Michael McDonald song worth listening to. I like some of his other music with the Doobie Brothers, but like Michael McDonald is like, I act like I'm a huge fan, but honestly, most of his music is kind of unlistenable. But I Keep Forgetting is an undisputed classic. Let's see, what else did I get? I got Meeting in the Ladies' Room, Climax.
Yes.
The album.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not the single. So that's awesome. The cover is awesome. It's all them in like leopard print and leather, which are two of my favorite things. So it's like, I need this. And lace, like pretty much all the shit that I'm like, oh, I would totally wear that. Like, I basically share like my preferred style is like either Climax or prostitutes. So I got Just Gets Better with Time by the Whispers.
Oh man.
Which is the one with Rocksteady on it.
Yes.
And it's also the one with I'm sure that all their albums have a funny picture, but it's the one that you have on your YouTube page with all of them just like standing there behind that like crappy like Sears looking backdrop. Like that's basically why. I love the Whispers, don't get me wrong, but I pretty much bought it for this fucking picture, like, cause like they all look like those Elvis lookalike contests that they'd have in like Las Vegas or whatever. Yeah. It looks like that, but for Steve Harvey. Like they just all dressed up like Steve Harvey, and like they were waiting in line, and someone was like, "Hey, let me take you guys' picture," and they took this. And then like the two twins Scotty and whatever the other guy's. What is his name?
What is his name? It's so their names. Their last names are both Scott, which is confusing because like why is one have the nickname Scotty? Like when that's both of their last names. It's Wallace and Walter Scott.
Oh, okay. So only one is Scotty.
Only one is Scotty. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but the twins look like Black Mario Brothers,
Yeah.
so that's another notable thing about the Whispers. The video to Rocksteady is honestly like watching that for the first time. Like I wish that I could bottle the way that I felt watching that and just like open it whenever I felt like sad or something. Like I can never relive that. It was amazing because first of all, I was looking for something to put on Jericho June that day, and I just like came across Rocksteady. I mean, I'd heard the song before, I just had never seen the video. Oh my god! Like first of all, I was in the library at Wayne State, so I had the sound off obviously because I didn't want to be there like loudly listening to Rocksteady by the Whispers. That video might actually be funnier without the sound. I was just like. I think I was like hyperventilating. Like I could not believe what I was seeing. It was amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
And then finally I got The Bitch Is Bad by Denise LaSalle.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, you know, Denise LaSalle is good, but the album cover is what makes this. So she's by a pool. It's like a bald guy in the bath, or not the bathtub, the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And she's wearing like a long slip and like a little like fur jacket, and she's standing on top of like a tiger skin rug. And then on the back he's like rubbing her legs. I saw this and I was like, oh my god. Like that's like my aesthetic in a nutshell. So I haven't had a chance to listen to any of my records yet because I don't have a fucking record player here yet. Like I have a record player, but it's kind of trash, and it's still at my parents' house. I need to bring it, but or buy it. I'll probably just buy a new one, honestly. But you just like I'm probably gonna do a similar thing to what you and Kia have with the album artwork, because I want that image of Denise LaSalle on my wall, definitely.
Yeah. I guess one thing that I wanted to mention is what's up with everybody raping people? Like, cause
hello, it's been that way forever. I
right.
read a fucking article that was like, it's been a bad month for men. I'm like, try every motherfucking month.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? They're just getting outed now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's true. So it's like, obviously, at the time we're recording this, like everybody is talking about Harvey Weinstein, and like, you know, it seems like every couple days, like a new worse article comes out. But I was like, so Mystical. This is what I care about. Mystical, you know, got out of prison where he did time for rape. And he was out for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 years. And now he's probably going back to prison for rape again. Separate, like a totally separate incident. Nelly was accused of rape.
He looks like a rapist. Like, I'm not at all surprised. Like, even when he came out, it's like, yeah, he's like in better shape and he looks nice and clean and everything. Like, Gucci Mane doesn't look like a rapist. And if he turns out to be a rapist, which I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, because everyone's a fucking rapist. If he does, then I'll retract that statement. Yeah, but however, Mystical just looks like a rapist. And I hate it because I love Mystical. Like, I will be the first one to admit that I'm a Mystical fan. But man, and you can tell he's out here.
And all of his songs are like yelling about aggressive sex, like
right.
I don't think anyone was that surprised.
I will say this though, like, Dick on the Track is not tainted for me still. Like, I will still fucking listen to Dick on a Track at any opportunity.
Yeah, Nelly got accused. Although it sounds like the woman is not standing trial, which doesn't mean anything, Yeah.
I don't know what to believe about that because I don't know. Nelly doesn't seem like a rapist as much as Mystical does. Probably because he doesn't yell as much. But again, like, I am always willing to believe that men are rapists. Like, that's my first thing, is like, there's rarely a doubt in my mind where other people are like, well, the woman isn't saying this. I'm like, he probably raped her. Like, let's be real. Like, I'm always willing to believe it. And why? Because most men are fucking rapists.
Right. I think it's, I think it's a good policy to, like, so first of all, like, people are always like, this is we're a law-abiding nation, and like, people in our justice system, people are innocent until proven guilty, and it's like, all of that is true, but are you a juror at this moment? Like, you can think whatever you like. You're not held to the standard of like innocent until proven guilty just in your everyday life. Like, it's
right, and like, it's different when you're talking about rape, because more often than not, nobody believes
it's never going to be
like, ever.
It's like I don't even think. I mean, Harvey Weinstein's career is over, but I don't think he's going to go to prison. Bill Cosby didn't go to prison; his career's over. I don't know if Cosby realizes it is, but but so it occurred to me that when I read the New Yorker article about Weinstein, I was like, well, I hope he just like goes away forever. And I realized that actually he should be in prison for the rest of his life. And it didn't even cross my mind that was a possibility. Like I was just like, oh, good, we don't have to hear about Harvey anymore, which is so fucked up that that you can be a serial rapist and the only consequences are professional. Like,
right.
It's
rape is trivialized, and it's purposefully trivialized. Right. Like, I know that's what, like, one of the things I tweeted about recently was that what's his name, the sexy guy who's yeah yeah and I'm mad because he's sexy, but he said, like, and granted, first of all, let me say this, that like, it was a trash comment regardless, but I know that you can say something and have it, like, I constantly have my foot in my mouth, so I understand that you can say something and not necessarily mean it that way. Like, I don't think he really is like, oh, I get to rape women.
Right.
I think that, like, in the show, there's a lot of raping in the show, right. So it's like,
yeah,
I think what he probably meant was he gets to have sex with a lot of beautiful women, which, by the way, is still an ugly comment, right. But it's less ugly than raping them. But I think that it was with that context. But basically, he said, like, the gist was that, like, one of the benefits of being on Game of Thrones is that he gets to rape beautiful women.
Yeah.
So all around an ugly comment, but I get that maybe he didn't mean it that way. I don't know. It's trash regardless. But what really honestly scared me was, like, the fucking room erupted into applause and laughter.
Yeah.
That's what scared me about it, was that you can make a comment like that. And, like, if I heard that like, the correct reaction would be like, what?
Yeah,
Like, what did you just
what?
say? Like, hold him accountable.
Yeah. Yeah,
because when I saw it and I heard that, I was like, oh my god,
when I
like that was
read
my first reaction.
It was like what? Like it's and I don't even it's not like
even
I'm
if
saying
you say a dumb thing,
yeah,
you should be held accountable for it. Like I said, I don't think he necessarily meant it the way it sounded,
right.
but you should still like your first reaction should not be like a fucking standing ovation.
Right. Yeah, if you say something you need so that like warrants an apology, like I mean, you should be made to apologize, or like you should be
right. Which I guess he did apologize.
Yeah, he did, and like I'm not out here saying boycott Aquaman. Like I'm sure. Yeah, I don't. Like I don't think that he's like he's a monster or something like that. But it is like, what the fuck? Like you. But I think the people who fucking
clapped for him are monsters. And why didn't anyone on the panel say like, "Hey, I don't think you meant that, right?" Like, call him out.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of people not calling him a kid. And that's why rape is trivialized, because people laugh about it. And it's like, thanks for laughing at my fucking expense. Like, I haven't been raped yet. It's very possible, though.
Right.
Like, every motherfucking day I think about it all the time. And that's why it's like a constant, like, it's really terrorism in a way, because me and every other woman I know, like, someone could break into my house and rape me in my sleep. Like, it's a constant thing that I think about. It keeps and I'm not paranoid. Like, I do whatever the fuck I want and go places by myself, but it's still, like, something you think about constantly.
Right.
So,
right.
Like, please don't laugh at my expense about that. Like, that's fucked up.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway,
and so that's kind of like all of the Weinstein stuff. Like, I mean, obviously, like everybody says, of course he's not the only predator in the entertainment industry. I think there's many, many, many other powerful, mostly men. Maybe there are some women too, but it's almost always men. Like, let's just be honest.
Well, the thing about, like, I completely understand and recognize that men not only can be raped, but like it's something that men deal with. Like, I'm not at all trivializing men being raped either, but it's different in that there's not like an entire system of being oppressed by like the fear or reality of rape. That like, like I mean, and maybe I'm like talking out of my ass, because I don't know.
I don't think I don't think you are.
Like, you're not afraid of being raped every day, are you?
No, I mean, I definitely think that if a man is sexually assaulted, he'll be hesitant to report it, because people probably won't believe him, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up across the board. But there's not the same like constant fear of being raped,
exactly.
like around every corner.
When a guy does something that makes people mad, on social media, like, people aren't threatening to rape him. Like,
right, exactly. That was another thing that was in the article. I guess there's like a model or something that didn't shave her legs, and people were like sending rape threats.
Right, like that never happens.
Yeah, like, I stay not shaving my legs, so
right. So but like, it's not like I think that I don't even necessarily think
Nelly
that
just came up on my timeline.
But I like the fact that, like, after Weinstein, it's like everybody was getting put on blast. Like, fucking Ben Affleck. Like, they dug up the thing that Aquaman said. Like it's
right.
just,
I hope we stay.
I know. Like, I want to see this.
Let's
keep this going. Like,
yeah.
Because
and honestly, like, what will we have to watch? Because honestly, like, most men are rapists.
Right. Well, that's why.
Come find me if you don't like that comment.
That's why it's a good time to be a content creator, because neither of us are rapists. So when the whole rest of the entertainment industry comes crumbling down, where will you turn? You'll have to listen to us talk about our hemorrhoids and kiss.
Which I guess is kind of rape in a way.
It definitely is. Like, it's like an obscene phone call.
Yeah. I just Nelly just came on my timeline again, and I guess the woman wishes she had not called 911 because she believes the system is going to fail her, which is probably true.
Yeah.
What was I just about to say too? It was someone else raping people. Oh, it was about Nelly again. It's not rape this time, but like there was also a video that came out of him like singing or I guess rapping to a little girl, and like he had like his. Did you see it?
No, I mean I saw it making the rounds. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's creepy. Like he has his like forehead right, which is like, first of all, why the fuck is there a child? I guess it's Nelly. I was gonna say, why is there a child at a Nelly concert? And I'm like,
it was
wait a minute.
the Honey Nut Cheerios commercials made her into a fan.
Right. Yeah, but he's like really close to her, and he starts like twirling her hair in his fingers.
That
and
is
I'm like,
weird.
This is fucking
That is
weird.
definitely weird.
Yeah, like knowing me at that age, I probably would have like backed away. But she's just like, I mean, not. I'm not saying what she should have done. I'm just thinking like, it's to the point where I would have been like freaked out, and I'm sure she was too.
Right.
Like it's weird.
Right. Oh yeah, R. Kelly. Like, how did I forget about R. Kelly? Like when I.
Oh yeah, R. Kelly.
That was a couple months back.
We're not talking enough about R. Kelly. What the fuck is going on with that? Does he still have women like in his fucking house?
I think he might. Yeah.
What is going on? I mean, I imagine he
right.
does.
I mean, it definitely seems like his career is finally taking a hit, which is crazy because like he was actually on video urinating on a minor. And and it was like, I don't know, that Chocolate Factory's fire though, like, you know.
I know. Well, that was still the motherfucking reaction to this, and it's like, come on,
right?
Like R. Kelly is not that good.
Yeah, no. I mean, and honestly, that might be part. So I think part of it is social media, right? Because like now you can kind of you can reach people in ways that they couldn't be reached. Like the artist has less control over the media now that everybody kind of has a voice, so now like when R. Kelly decides to do a Twitter chat, like everybody talks to him about
yeah, and now his music is so much more
exactly
trash.
I think for me it's like super I personally I don't tend to boycott artists
because if you did that, it'd be everybody.
And then it's also like, what is it really? I think honestly, that's a decision between you and your conscience. Because I've never given R. Kelly any my money except maybe through Spotify streams. I think are the only things that I've sort of like monetized for R. Kelly. So like whether or not I enjoy feeling on your booty doesn't really make a difference in terms of the lives that he's destroying. It's a personal choice. I think it's like, can I stomach listening to this? I don't have a soul, so I can stomach. I know that Roman Polanski is a creep, but Chinatown is the shit. I'm not going to stop watching Chinatown.
Yeah, and another thing too is like especially with R. Kelly, like I never liked R. Kelly.
Right.
I just have a weird, ironic, like his music is so weird.
Yeah.
He's like a fascinating person.
But I say all this, and the funny thing about R. Kelly is that, like, even if somebody put a gun to my head and said you have to stop listening to R. Kelly now, like it's against the rules because he's an awful person and he's a sexual predator, I would be like, yeah, okay. I would not miss it if I made a concerted. I would barely even have to do a concerted boycott of R. Kelly because his music is just lame.
Right. Yeah. It really is, and it's crazy to me that that's the basis that people use to like excuse his behavior or whatever. It's like, really? Like I mean, whatever. If you like R. Kelly, but. It is. It's just like, it's just corny and like, I mean, he's a good singer, but there are other good singers who we don't know if they're raping people.
Yeah, was the
not.
Buffet that great? Like, did we need
the Buffet was absolute
14
garbage.
songs about how loud his sex partners are? Like,
right? Like, oh my God, the Buffet was absolute garbage. I would boycott him because of the Buffet alone, even if he wasn't raping people.
I did like Marching Band though.
Marching Band was garbage. Was it? She blew me like a tuba.
Yes.
Is that what he says? So
she
fucking
blew me
dumb.
like a tuba. It's got the Juicy J, his like remedial reading flow, you know, where
right. You do not want a woman blowing you like a tuba. I was in marching band. I didn't play the tuba, but I was in marching band, and I can guarantee that that's not how you give a blowjob. It's different than a tuba mouthpiece. I can.
So, anyway.
Who else is raping people out here? It was somebody else, wasn't it?
We
talked about
R. Kelly's
Nelly.
collaborator on Marching Band is Dr. Luke, another well-known sexual predator.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember, like for recent. So yeah, it's a Nelly allegedly.
It's so many that I can't keep up with.
I know. Yeah. So, you know, like keep them coming. Like. I don't understand why these people who like to me
Oh, what I was gonna say is like the thing with R. Kelly, the video, that was another way it was trivialized because people keyed into like the pee play thing.
Right.
And we're like, well, if you don't want to get peed on, why would it's like it's not that she was being peed on, it's that she was a child that cannot give consent.
17.
Like
she was 13. Like.
Yeah, like I don't know, people are so irritating. Actually, when I was in San Francisco, I went on a date. Like I went on one date with a guy. I clearly never went on another date with him. But he like first of all, he was irritating in many ways. Like I knew pretty much within the first like 3 minutes that I was not going to go on another date with him. But like somehow R. Kelly came up. And this was actually like the day before the news broke about him keeping like a whole bunch of women in his fucking house against their will, or I guess, you know, like a cult kind of thing. But somehow we were talking about R. Kelly and the rape thing came up, and he basically, like, I knew where he stood on it because he quoted the thing from Boondocks, which, by the way, was the wrong opinion to have on it. Like, it was clear that was the wrong opinion to have on Boondocks. Like, they were making fun of that opinion.
Boondocks is not a subtle show. Like,
yeah, like, he was saying like, the same thing. Like, if she didn't want to get peed, she should have moved away. And it's like, that's not what this is about. Like, that's not the point. Like, plenty of people like to be urinated on. Just please don't urinate on underage
just like
girls.
just don't do it on a child. Like, you know.
Yeah, like I don't give a I have no problem with weird kinky sex. Like, whatever. If you like to pee on women and they like to be peed on, it's consensual.
Right.
But this was not consensual. Like your brain is technically not developed until you're 25.
Yeah.
You're definitely not like able to give consent to a grown-ass, or like even if you give consent to an adult, it's then the adult as like a fully developed person with responsibility to be like, no, we can't do this. Like, that's your job as a consensual adult, to say no to minors.
Right.
even if they give consent. Not only because it's legal, but it's just like wrong.
Right.
I don't know. The whole thing pisses me off. But that's another way it's trivialized because people will just like focus on the wrong damn things, or like when our president was caught saying that thing about grab me in the pussy or grab him in the pussy.
Everybody was mad
like
about pussy.
People were like pussy,
I don't
and I'm
care
like
about, you know, like saying pussy. Like, I mean, when Donald Trump says pussy, it's obviously disgusting, but
right.
But you know, that's not
right.
The
like
issue.
People focus on the wrong goddamn thing, and it drives me absolutely nuts. Like, I've never been like raped, but I've definitely been sexually harassed and followed and like groped by people, and it's like it's not like when that came out and there were people on the news not only saying that, like, why are people so bad about him saying pussy? Like, no. But also it was like other stuff that like news people were saying and just trivializing like my feelings about the comments. I'm like, you do realize that the person we're about to elect the president just admitted to sexual assault. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And now he's our president, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I definitely feel safer.
Right. Right. Well, you know, Yeah, I don't have a snappy comeback for that.
Tonight we right or wrong. Tonight we sail on a radio song. Rescue me, should I go down if I stay too long in troubled town? Oh, yeah, you wreck me, baby, yeah, you break me in two, but you move me, honey, yes you do. Now and again I get
Tom Petty died.
Oh yeah. It's, keeping things light. Yeah, you know, I was kind of like, I was thinking now that we're doing this more often, like, should we talk about, you know, should we not do the Memorial Day podcast anymore? Because it always, like, we talk about this every year. We're like, you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna spend 2 hours talking about dead people. You know, it's like, and then like trying to be respectful, and like we can't be respectful. It's just. But
Yeah, actually, like, well, go ahead.
But I was just gonna say, you know, like I think we're gonna keep doing it, but I some people like Tom Petty, like I feel the need to mention now, because that was like, it was shocking, and it, you know, came out of nowhere. He wasn't young, but he wasn't that old. He was just on tour.
I thought he was older than he is.
Yeah,
honestly, or than
yeah,
he was.
I know he was 60. Was he 69? 67?
I don't remember.
Hold on a second. Let's see. He was 66 at the time that he died.
Yeah, that's not that old.
Yeah. And you know, Tom Petty is I'm not like a super fan, but he has so many like great singles. Like, so many of his songs. I mean, like, you know, there's a reason why his greatest hits album is one of the best-selling greatest hits albums ever. It's like every song on that is just amazing. You know, you can't listen to classic rock radio at any point without hearing Tom Petty and without like developing an appreciation for Tom Petty. He wrote so many great songs. So, yeah, it's a fucking bummer.
Yeah. And now all we got is Bob Dylan and Jeff Lynne
I
left.
know. They're the only two surviving Wilburys. Yeah. Roy Orbison died.
I was gonna make a joke that it's just gonna be Jeff Lynne and a whole bunch of holograms.
Then you remembered Bob Dylan.
But then I remembered Bob Dylan.
You know, honestly,
I forgot that Bob Dylan.
I'm amazed, and I realize that like this is going to be wildly offensive, but I'm amazed that Bob Dylan outlived Tom Petty, because
I'm amazed and kind of
I mean,
upset,
his whole
honestly.
voice, like just his singing voice, is a literal death rattle now. like he sounds rough, and he looks ancient. You know, like I don't know. It's. I'm sure that when Bob Dylan dies, I'll be sad and I'll regret saying this, but I'm just like, I'm amazed that he's alive. And he does nothing but records Sinatra covers now. Like, you know.
Right, yeah, like he's had a good long run.
Exactly. When you get to the Sinatra cover stage, it's, you know, it's time to duck out. Like,
I'm waiting for Rod Stewart to
Rod
croak.
Stewart's long overdue.
But the thing is, Rod Stewart at least still like looks and sounds
That's
good.
true. Yeah.
So it's like, all right. Well, I mean, he sang on that A$AP Rocky song, so it's like
That was
right,
that. Oh, was that a? Did he re-sing that, or was that a sample?
I think he re-sang it because it's featuring Rod
Yeah.
Stewart.
Well, regardless, I mean, yeah, Rod's in good health, and you know,
He's still got the fucking hair.
I wish him the best. If he could survive blowing all those sailors, he could survive everything.
I love whenever I say that because I talk about it a lot. Whenever I say that like online, someone corrects me and it's like, "That's a lie. He didn't." And I'm like, I don't care. I like the lie, so I'm gonna put that in my reality.
It's headcanon. in our headcanon, Rod Stewart really did have to get all of that semen pumped out of his stomach. There's actually we recorded an hour-long video of us playing Earthbound that I still haven't put up because I'm waiting for us to have a few more in the can before I do that. But we recorded like an hour-long video, and we were not talking about the game. We were just talking about Rod Stewart getting his stomach.
I don't even remember why we started. Oh, no, that's not why. But I remember like where the zombies were running at us. I was like, this is probably like where Rod Stewart.
This is how Rod Stewart must have felt. Yeah.
But like whatever, maybe he didn't do it. But if he did, if he did suck off all those sailors, just the logistics of that, like someone who sucks dick, like it's work.
Yeah, just one.
So for him, yeah. So and a lot of men at least claim or have trouble coming from head.
Right.
So just
how long
like
did
he
each
must
one
have
take?
some bomb throat because not only did he suck off all those, it has the endurance to suck off all those sailors. Like they all
it was
came
all to
in
completion, and it
yeah,
and
like,
like how much like. Because if he had to get a stomach pump, it seems like they all like produced a lot of semen.
It was either a high volume of sailors or a high volume of semen per sailors in a smaller group. Because I'm hoping the latter, honestly, because that would be tiring to like one after the other. And how much time would that take? You have to be very, very. You're like, I'm gonna get my stomach pumped tonight because like that takes some pre-planning.
Yeah, and that was at the peak of his career, so it's not like he didn't have anything else to do that night. Like
Right. That's what success is. It's like once you make it, you can go out and suck off all the sailors at a bar.
I have to go through his discography and listen for clues. Like Paul is dead. Like when there's the mythology that in the Beatles music there's clues that Paul McCartney died and was replaced by a double. I want to listen to Rod Stewart's music for clues that he blew a bunch of sailors.
It's like his vocal cords changed because they were coated by so much semen. He probably has like HPV in his throat.
I'm gonna play his records backwards for clues. Not really anything to transition from that. I guess in the past, like I like to do holiday tie-in themed stuff for the website. Since we're not a website anymore, we are, but we're not like a blog. It's kind of hard to do that, especially when you don't plan things ahead like me. So in the past, like we talked about a couple of like heavy metal Halloween, heavy metal horror movies. We talked about Rock and Roll Nightmare. That was actually our first ever podcast. And
I wish the quality on that was better too, because that was a really good one. But that was back when we had shitty quality because I had a horrible microphone.
yeah. No, it really does sound like garbage. Like if you think this sounds like garbage, like go back and listen
to our first podcast,
and you'll be thankful. And then, last year we talked about Trick or Treats, another heavy metal themed Halloween movie. I was thinking like we could do something the same this year. And I mean, maybe we still can. Like, we'll see. This will go up on the 20th. What movies
haven't we watched?
What movies what haven't we watched?
Like what's left? Sorry.
There's some other movies by the guy who directed Rock and Roll Nightmare. There's I know that there was one. There's it's really bad. Like I think it actually got made into a Mystery Science Theater movie at some episode at some point. But there's one with Lemmy in a small role, and I think also Tia Carrera from Wayne's World.
Yep. We need to watch that. That's all I need to hear.
And this is actually kind of a legitimate movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, but I recently found out about Terror Train with Jamie Lee Curtis and David Copperfield and Vanity in one of her first film roles.
Yes.
So, and then, also like when we get done with heavy metal, like there is always, Tales from the Hood and Leprechaun in the Hood and Bones starring Snoop Dogg. All
right, so I guess we do have a good.
Yeah, we've got some
I just got Prime, so if any of those are available on Prime streaming, probably not. But I can probably like get them really cheap on Amazon.
Yeah, so we'll try and put a little something together. We'll have like 11 days before Halloween after this goes up. So I think we can do it. Our podcast always goes up on the day of Halloween because I always wait until the last minute. But yeah, and so if you're listening to this, if you've made it this far, which after the 1-2 punch of my hemorrhoids and Rod Stewart's, like group fellatio, it's doubtful that anyone is listening this far. But if you have, and you have any opinions about what we should watch for this year's Halloween movie, let us know.
I was just at Best Buy and Blackula and Blackula Scream were there, and I almost bought it, but then I'm like, I can probably find it for cheaper on Amazon.
Right.
No, it's a fucking $1.50 more.
What?
It really is the Best Buy.
Yeah. See, sometimes Best Buy works out.
I know. I'm mad I didn't grab it too. I could have totally gotten it.
Yeah. Yeah. I kicked off my Halloween movie watching season today with a Nicolas Cage film you might have heard of called The Wicker Man, which is really honestly like you only need to watch. You kind of need to watch the whole thing because I feel like the anticipation of the last half hour is what makes the last half hour so funny, but only the last half hour is funny. Like Cage is actually pretty restrained for most of the movie. And then he just loses his shit. Like, there's that famous scene that's kind of become a meme of him finding this burned doll and yelling,
"This hers? Tell me!"
Yes, I think yeah.
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned?
I don't know!
Like, so that, and ever since then, he's like on a 10. Like he punches like I'm trying to think. So he cold cocks one woman, punches her out. Most of the pagan cultists in this movie are women, and Nicolas Cage has no qualms about punching them out. So he cold cocks this lady. he like fucking drop kicks Lily Sobieski into a wall. And then when he tries to rescue this little girl who's, he thinks is being sacrificed, like all of the villagers start closing in, and he's like punching them, and it's so ridiculous. Of course, there's the scene, which is not in the version of the movie that I watched today, but there's the scene with him. They put his head in a cage and release the bees, so he starts, screaming.
What is that? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Oh, my eyes! My eyes! Ah!
But there's a great, there's a part that was in the movie, in the version that I was watching today, where they put him in a bag. And you could he's just doing like voiceover, you can't see him, but he's in a bag, and you hear like a crack, and he's like, ah, my legs, and then another crack, ah, like my leg. Like, it's so stupid. Like it's just like, I don't know, something about, I think I'm running out of Nicolas Cage movies to watch for Halloween. Last year I watched Vampire's Kiss. That one, oh my God, like Vampire's Kiss is it's definitely the greatest Nicolas Cage movie of all time. It's like Cage at his most Cage. Like everything, like every decision he makes in that movie is like engineered to be bizarre. He gives his character this weird accent. Like I think he's supposed to be like a New York yuppie, and he gives him this weird, like sort of mid-Atlantic, like it's like no human being has this voice.
It's horrible when there are tensions between employer and employee, Alva. But sometimes the pressures, they just build up.
So if anybody has any recommendations for Nicolas Cage movies to watch around Halloween, I am all ears, because Vampire's Kiss set a very high bar. Wicker Man didn't quite reach it, but it is still, I still definitely enjoyed it. And in case anybody is wondering, no, I haven't seen the original Wicker Man. I've only watched the shitty Nicolas Cage remake. And part of me wants to, make that permanent.
I've been watching a lot of Travolta movies. I don't know if I saw Pulp Fiction for the first time, and that kind of put me on a Travolta kick.
Yeah.
I watched Phenomenon.
I saw Phenomenon in the theater. Really? I saw Phenomenon and Michael. I saw like several bad Nicolas Cage movies in the theater. I don't know why.
Wait, you mean John Travolta?
Yeah, John Travolta. There are no bad Nicolas Cage movies.
Wait, when did you saw it in 1996?
Yes.
Did Mom and Dad go see it?
I don't remember. I don't know who I saw it with.
Why would you be alone? Why would you be? You were like, what, like 14?
I might have seen it with my friends. I don't know.
Oh my God, I cannot imagine seeing that
with my friends.
Well, like as a teenager, because it was fucking weird. Like it was some really awkward scenes in that. Like,
right.
The love scene in that was awkward as hell. And it was so, like, tear-jerky and dumb. I watched it just because I thought the picture was funny. It wasn't exactly what I didn't know what I expected, but it wasn't what I expected.
No, it's like, he just has a brain tumor. Like, which is weird.
Yeah, like, the whole thing is, like, cool as fuck. I mean, not cool. Like, it's cool that he can do all that shit. The movie's trash. But it's cool that he can do the stuff or whatever.
Right.
But, like, the town is, like, suspicious of him. I think it's fucking weird to see Forrest Whitaker as, like, a nice, normal person. But you know what's weird about it, too? Okay, well, first let me finish my first thought. Like, it's cool he can do all that stuff, but then, like, at the end, it's like, well, shit, he's dying now. Like, I'm not as invested in this as I was. It's just kind of stupid how they change it up like that. Oh, there's some, like, weird stuff that happens. So first of all, like Forrest Whitaker's character is like obsessed with Diana Ross for some unknown fucking reason. So like he has this weird upset, like he has like a radio show I think where he keeps like shouting. I was like he like talks to Diana Ross like like he's on the phone with her. He's like, Diana, like I'm doing this or this or something, and it's like, Diana Ross does not give a fuck about your life. She was fucking Gene Simmons, bruh.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe she does give a fuck about his life. Clearly questionable taste, but So yeah, like Forrest Whitaker is obsessed with Diana Ross, having never met her. He's just like into her, and then John Travolta's character, I don't remember what the fuck his name was. He's like obsessed with Kira Sedgwick's character in like a weird way. Like it pisses me off because she's like clearly not interested in him at the beginning. And he's like constantly pursuing her and like talking to her and like going up to her and asking her out, and she's just like ignoring. She's basically showing signs of like he's harassing her, and she's just like not interested and is like purposely trying to make sure that he knows that she's not interested. And so that made me uncomfortable that he like kept pursuing her.
Right.
But then at the end you find out that she was interested in him all along. And like he was like buying her chairs and stuff, and she got mad at him, but I guess she wasn't like creeped out, which is like the proper response to you finding out that your chairs aren't selling and some guy is buying all of your chairs so that he can talk to you. I would be very deeply
call the
disturbed.
police.
Right, but she's just mad that he's buying all her chairs, and then is like in love with him, and she starts being with him after he finds out that he has a brain tumor. It's like, what the fuck? Like, there's just like questionable representations of women in the movie, and like it kind of has like, if you pursue a woman enough, she'll start liking you undertones, which is like, no, just leave us alone. Don't buy our shit.
Yeah, it's just I don't all I remember about it was that they advertise it as a movie where a guy has magical powers, and then it's like, oh, by the way, the powers are caused by a brain tumor. Like,
right.
I was just like, what?
Like on one hand, I'm glad that he's like giving her money because it's like you should pay her, but at the same time, it's just creepy.
Right.
Like, and yeah, then he fucking dies at the end, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I'm glad I wasted my time on this.
Have you seen Face Off? Speaking of Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, okay, it's both of them at their best.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because it's you know, I mean the premise behind it, right? They trade faces.
No.
Okay, so like John Travolta is like a secret agent, and Nicolas Cage is like a super criminal, like drug dealer guy. At some point, I don't actually remember how this happens, but oh, I remember what it is. So John Travolta agrees. He like takes down Cage's character, and he's gonna infiltrate his like crime syndicate. And they do it by taking off Cage's face and putting it onto Travolta's skull. Now, ignore the fact that these two men have like wildly different head shapes and sizes. So any application of one face to another would just be like a hideous, like monstrosity. So John Travolta somehow puts on Nicolas Cage's face and looks exactly like Nicolas Cage because it is Nicolas Cage. But then Nicolas Cage comes out of his coma or whatever, and he gets the surgeon and makes him put Travolta's face on. So now everybody thinks that he's Travolta. So you have Nicolas Cage playing John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage, and then you have John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage playing John Travolta. So it's like, it's unbelievable. And obviously Cage is the better overactor of the two, but if anybody can give Cage a run for his money, it's Travolta. Like, it was brilliant for them to put those two together. and if they were to make a Face Off 2 like now, with Cage and Travolta, I would come.
I would be first in
I
line,
know.
like the midnight showing.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the first one, and I already know.
I think the second one would be
sequel.
better because John Travolta already looks like he's had somebody else's face put on his face, and honestly, Nicolas Cage kind of does too. Like they both look weird now. So yeah, if you're getting into Travolta movies, that's definitely one to add to your list.
Yeah. I still need to see Saturday Night Fever. Even I haven't seen that. The soundtrack is amazing. I've definitely heard the soundtrack.
Right.
I've seen Grease. I've seen parts of Hairspray. I don't really need to see anymore.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah. I mean, basically, you just need to see. What's his name? You need to see Travolta in that outfit, and like
that's all you need.
And that's probably all you can like stomach.
Barely. My favorite. I'm looking up. I need to get these pictures. I looked it up, and I need to take it off Google Images for me to be able to form a sentence because I'm like in shock. But my favorite John Travolta moment was in the last season of the Oprah Winfrey Show, like before it went off the air. Like when like this episode was nuts because so Oprah comes out and announces to the studio audience that she's gonna take all of them to Australia, and like everyone like stands up and like when Oprah gives away free shit,
right.
This is like
everybody loses their mind, yeah.
People fainting and shit, and then so Oprah takes this opportunity to like clap her hands together and be like, "We are going to Australia." I'm not. That's what she does, and then but so everyone's like losing it, like fainting, falling all over the place, and then a fucking plane like drives out onto the stage and you're like, oh shit. She's like, here's the plane we're gonna take. Everyone goes nuts. And then fucking John Travolta comes out of the plane and I'm like, why is Travolta there? And she's like, and John Travolta's gonna fly us there. And everyone's like, oh my god. Like I was losing it. Alone on my couch watching Oprah, like I was excited.
Wouldn't
why?
Yeah, but also like, wouldn't that have been crazy if that plane crashed and if that was how John Travolta and Oprah and like like 200 other women that we don't know, if that was how they died, like. Obviously, I'm glad that didn't happen, but like that would have been crazy. Fun, baby.
Right. Yeah.
All right. I think we've exhausted all of our topics. So if you're still listening, you can let us know if there's anything you want us to check out. I'm thinking we'll watch the Tia Carrera Lemmy thing. I've seen part of it. It's super boring, but I'll do it.
That's what sucks about bad movies is they're either like hilarious or they're boring or both.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's hit or miss or kind of like a mixture of like because if it's hilarious, I mean like I would say Rock and Roll Nightmare is hilarious, but you have to like
you have to sit through
a fucking half hour of a van driving around. Like,
oh my god! Hey, wait a second. I was wrong about Lemmy. You know who's actually in it?
Who?
John Michael Thor.
Oh my god! Wait, which one is Lemmy in then?
I don't know.
Because how the fuck did you confuse Lemmy with Thor?
I think his music is in it. I think that might be why.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think Motorhead is on the soundtrack. So okay, yeah, I'm thinking Tia Carrera plus John Michael Thor plus Adam West. I just noticed is also in it.
Okay.
Okay, I think it might be time, but I don't know if anybody else has another idea, we'll ignore you. But let's pretend that we're like interactive and shit.
Yeah. You can try. Yeah. We could do a poll for like Twitter polls. You could be like, "What movie should we watch?" Right. And then like, I'll respond, and maybe Mom will respond, yeah. And then that'll be it.
Yeah,
and then we'll decide what we want to watch anyway. So
right. Speaking of Twitter, we have an official account that's at Dystopian Tweets. You can also reach me at ZC Hoskins, HOSKINS, and Callie. It's at Nazpolar,
right? At Nazpolar on Twitter, at Nazpolar on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I might have my art for sale. Pretty much all of it's for sale, but I might have prints that are more affordable and portable and easy to send. So
cool. And then speaking of Instagram, we have an Instagram now. It's mostly like I haven't done too much with it. I don't know if I ever will do too much of it, but our Instagram is at Dystopian Graham, because a lot of these social media places don't give you enough characters for Dystopian Dance Party. So Dystopian Graham and Dystopian Tweets. We are on Tumblr, Dystopian Dance Party, and we're on Facebook. So really, you have no excuse. Like, you can fucking, like, we're easy to find. What's your problem? Why haven't you been following us?
Right.
We'll see you in 11 days. I'm holding myself to this, and thanks for listening.
Sure.